massive success with that first pass of the jet wash. I mean, it has got rid of some of the build up of grease and oil, but there's a lot of really compacted stuff and like the nooks on the frame rails, and a lot of this is really greasy muck mixed in. So I'm going to give it another go. I mean, it's a nice sunny day, so it's drying out quite nicely outside, and we don't need to worry too much about dragging water back into the unit. So I'm going to mix up some snow foam mixed with G101, blast that on and just give it a proper soak and see if that helps loosen it off. Yes, you can see there has been some success loosening off like this thick just mixture of grease and dirt all over the diff casing, but it's all going to need blasted and recoated, I think, anyway. So after multiple jet washings on the chassis, we ended up with areas sort of like here on top of these gusset plates and around the chassis and body mounting plates, where there's this big accumulation of muck and grot sitting on top of the chassis. So we're going a bit MOT tester territory here, and just getting in with a small pry bar to actually see if we've got corrosion or if it's just a build up of muck. I mean, you can see here that is, to be fair, light corrosion. That's solid metal. That's still solid, it's just the surface coating is flaking off. You've got sections down here where you've had a little bit of brake fluid leaking, probably just seeping out of the brake valve there. So that will need attention, because brake fluid is horrendous stuff when it gets onto paint and onto metals and whatnot. But for each of these things, you just need to actually get in about it with the scraper and understand, like, are these actually corroded, or do we just have a build-up of muck and crap on the surface and a quick blast and repainting and repowder coating will fix everything up. So, I mean, that looks completely fine. You get sections like this where there's just so much accumulated grease that the jet wash just wasn't budging it. I need to come in with probably a heavier degreaser on that. But you get these where you just get a lot of crap building up on the surface, and you just need to check there's still solid metal underneath. But you'd have to say in general it's looking in pretty good shape. The only signs of corrosion that I can see on it are very light bits of surface corrosion that with a blast in a paint or a blast in a powder coat we should be all right with. Very light surface pitting, nothing too serious. My biggest concern remains these plates where you've got holes drilled right into the outer edge of them, which is far from ideal. And just around this area here, this seems to be the heaviest area of corrosion on the chassis, so we'll need to get that tidied up and cleaned up and repainted so that any corrosion remains at the surface and doesn't go any deeper.